Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's Sunday afternoon, the sun is back out, and I'm up here just in front of this magnificent and picturesque Shoal Bay, and I think I might go for a bit of a walk just round the headland today and do a walk and talk and go through another book summary. The book summary that I plan to talk about today is entitled Empire of Illusion by an author known as Hedges. And it's a book that will basically go through and assess the various challenges and issues that we face in this modern world, living with social media, living with print and television media, and trying to make head and tail of what is true, what is false, what is fake, what is illusion, because there are a lot of moving parts, and these moving parts are influencing in a big way our worldview, and it's important to be able to decipher the agendas, the messages that are coming through to make sense, as we said, of the world, and not be trapped, not be drawn into the vortex of irregularity and fakeness that get us emotionally attached and engaged in something which may not necessarily be entirely real in the first place. One thing for sure and for certain is that we live in a world now where we're bombarded by lots and lots of messages from lots of different angles, from lots of different directions. And each of those messages have an agenda, have a narrative which doesn't always enable us to be empowered. And as we say time and time again, a lot of us live in fear, live in lots of fears, not of our own making, and the majority of those fears are false fears. They will never ever come to fruition. In fact, if you want a rule of thumb, what they basically say is that 95% of all those things you fear will never ever happen to you. Because the bottom line is that we're all going to have a different life. We've all had a different past. We're all going to experience a different present. I am here, you are there. Even if you were here, you'd be getting a different perspective to what I'm doing. And we're all most certainly going to have a different future. Regardless if your parents had certain challenges in their life, or your siblings, or your schoolmates. No, your life is unique to you. Your life is very, very different to you, to other people, should I say. And we all have our own fate. And we don't really know where our future lies, other than it's going to be different to what we think it is, and it's going to be very, very different to everybody else's future. So what we need to do is to relax a bit and just let the future take its course. By all means, to do whatever we can to protect ourselves and protect our loved ones, but to know that just like on a jetty, where there are 100 people fishing using the same fishing rod, the same fishing line, the same setup and the same bait, not everybody is going to catch a fish. Not everybody is going to catch a lot of fish. Not everybody is going to catch the biggest fish. But it's truly random in terms of how it works out. and we just need to have a crack at our lives and make the most of what we have, our skills, our talents, our opportunities, and let life take its course without fighting life too hard, but just going along for the ride. And using the surfing analogy, just wait until the sets come in and ride those sets, and then be patient, waiting for the next set of waves to come in, knowing that every now and then we're going to get dumped. We're going to have days where there's no waves. They could be blown away, they could be blown out by the wind coming the wrong way, for example. And to be patient, knowing that each and every one of us will have a different life. So the author in this book talks about many different things, and what we'll do is we'll step through each point sequentially and see if we can make some sense of it, and more importantly, see if we can incorporate it into our daily lives, our schedules, and leverage it and use it as a stepping stone to our growth and development. So the author reminds us here that we should not forget that the true purpose of education is to make minds and not careers. It's not about the job. It's about making educated individuals, people who can use their minds, who can be critical thinkers, and who can assess things in a way that will enable them to foresee the first, second, and third level consequences of their decisions and actions, as well as the first, second, and third level consequences of the decisions and actions of other people around them. So in today's world, unfortunately, according to this author, and I think we all feel the same, it's not just this author who has this view. Today's world, people live in a fake world because of their addiction to entertainment. We rob ourselves, according to this author, of literacy and society of its values by focusing on being entertained and being happy all the time, as opposed to living a true life where we walk along the path or the road less travelled, where we take the easy way every time just to make us happy and make others around us happy. So the author here is saying that by trying to be entertained or trying to be entertaining of others, then you're robbing yourself and you're robbing them of a productive and a purposeful future in their lives. So the first formal point to come from this book, from this wonderful author, and it's starting to sprinkle again, so I'll just get under one of these most magnificent Norfolk pine trees which line the foreshore here. What the author reminds us of is that you don't really understand reality and aren't as intelligent when you watch too much television. I remember as a kid growing up, my parents always hounded me not to watch too much television. I must admit I spent a lot of time watching cartoons and watching Gilligan's Island and McHale's Navy and Lost in Space and you name it, you know, the horror shows and the scary movies. And all of those things, I guess, to a certain extent, shaped the way that my generation saw the world. You know, Hogan's Heroes is another example, and I think I've said McHale's Navy, but there's lots and lots of examples of shows that shaped us. But what the author is saying here and pleading with us, and the call to action is to spend less time being sucked into television and entertainment, because in today's modern world, literacy has become a growing problem, and we have become illusion prone and illusion bound. It's scary to think that a third of the population is not literate or barely literate. After graduating, a third of people will not read a book for the rest of their lives. That's scary, considering that many of them wouldn't have even read a book whilst they were at school. I remember when I was young, a lot of the teachers told me that the majority of books are not read past the first chapter. Most people take a book, will read a few pages, and then set it aside and never open that book again. So, opportunity for learning lost, wasted, forever. One of the good things about Jim's 5am Club is that I am able to take the thousands of books that are available on the internet as book summaries, and I'm able to take that material, summarize it, and present it whilst using a backdrop like we have today of Nelson Bay to make it visually interesting. And then what I do is I like to overlay this beautiful visual with a message of empowerment, where we take OPE, other people's experiences, in the form of book summaries, in the form of books, and experiences that I've had in my life, and play it back and hopefully deliver a few lessons that we can all leverage, use, and make the most of. So that's the purpose. But to think that most people, the majority of people, will never ever read another book after they leave school is absolutely scary. So the other thing that we need to be aware of is that because people don't read books and don't practice critical thinking, what a lot of people do is they're subjected to a lot of wrong information, which is distorted, and will distort their reality of how they see things. It'll distort their worldview. It will influence and create biases that will impact how they see things and how they view the world and how they interpret things. Many people these days, according to this author, will spend many hours in front of a TV. They say that the average number of hours that people spend watching television is 7 hours a day. And most people, whilst watching television, are subjected to this predictable content, this predictable narrative, which changes how they see the world, and it puts a spin on things which may not be a reality in any way, shape or form. And what we have is we have young people, we have families, we have influencers using predictable content and familiar cliches that generates an illusion of excitement and comfort while we do nothing with our own lives. So basically, we become spectators in life rather than participants, which is very, very sad indeed. So we're happy to sit and watch reality TV rather than live our own lives. We're happy to watch an influencer talk their rubbish rather than sit and think and read and come up with our own view of the world, rather than just drift along in and out with the tripe that you find on social media. The second formal point to come from this book is where the author says that our freedom is at risk because we've stopped caring so much for reading. One of the most powerful things that we can all do is to read, because through reading you get access to a thing called OPE, other people's experiences. The slither of life that we're subjected to, the slither of reality that comes our way, may not necessarily be representative of the truth or of the total reality, because we don't have enough time, we don't have enough experiences in our lives to be able to get all the slithers to give us a total view of what's going on around us. And if we're relying on the media, on social media, on influencers and other avenues, we can get manipulated through their narratives and their narrow view of the world, their manipulative view of the world. So that's why we need to read, and we need to read widely, and we need to continually read, and to read critically, using our critical thinking so that we can make assessments, our own assessments of what is real and what is fabricated, what is real and what is not fake. So to sit and think and to try and build up our own library, our own inventory of skills and patterns, and go to decisions is really, really important. Because what's happening, according to this author, is that television is a powerful authority putting our democracy at risk. We have become narcissists who will do anything for money, fame, or sex appeal instead of the common good. You know, there are people, and we're all guilty of it. I'm not saying that I'm not guilty of it, but we all spend far too much time trying to promote our own views and our own selves in a world, as opposed to trying to help others who are in dire need. And people prefer to be on TV than attending a top university. People prefer sitting on a couch and watching television rather than going to a fellowship meeting, for example. I go to fellowship every Tuesday, and I love it because it gives me a different perspective. It allows me to mix with a different mix of people to who I would mix with normally at work. It gives me another perspective. It allows me to think, and it allows me to evaluate what other people are saying and compare it and contrast it to my view of life and where I want to go with my family and my future. The next point that the author makes is an interesting one, and he says that as we've relegated the humanities to the sideline in recent years, we've decayed morally and are reaping the consequences of that decay. So what we're saying here is that we've dropped our guard, and the whole family unit has been broken apart. You hear more these days of families separating, divorcing, children going their own way, and very, very little about people being the fountain of magic glue to keep them together and to work as a unit, as a team. And that has led to the decay of our moral fabric in our society, according to this author. And we're reaping the first, second, and third level consequences, which are taking us down a road, down a path, which who knows where we're going to end up. But we've got identity politics tugging away at us, breaking us up, dividing us. We've never been so divided. I look at the Harbour Bridge and I see two flags up there. I see one flag, which is a flag that, from my point of view, unites the nation. And then we see another flag, which is an exclusive flag for a small number of people, which, to a certain extent, divides the nation. It's not inclusive of my needs. It's not inclusive of my family. It's not inclusive of what we've fought for and what we've developed in this wonderful country. So the author goes on to say that it's all a part of education. And education to expand the mind, but not about getting a job. The sad thing is that these days people go to university and become job specific with their education. I remember my daughters went to a wonderful private school, and the headmistress, Mrs. Wheeldon, and I can remember her saying this, and it made such an impact on me. He says, the problem in Australia in terms of education is that people go to school to become doctors. They finish school and they start their medical degree. Whereas in other countries of the world, people finish school and then go on to do another subject. They do arts, they do history, they do some of the humanities, and then go on to specialise in terms of what they want to do as they work. And it's only by doing that that you end up having educated doctors, is what she said back then, rather than just having doctors who don't have a broader education. All they really know, to a certain extent, according to this author, is the small field in which they have focused and they have wanted to study. They become very, very specialised far too early. Whereas the American model is you become generalised and then slowly become specialised. So an interesting perspective indeed. So the author finishes off this book summary by saying that there's a cost of thinking, and it deals with our existential and ethical issues, which are key to building morals and values. We need to have the education. We need to have that general humanities baseline in order to help the morals and the values of society flourish and become an important foundational part of our families, our work, and our communities. And we need to build free thinkers. We need to build future thinkers. We need to build a team around us of people who are able to take what we have and to critically use it in ways that it's going to be better for each and every one of us, and to pass on a better world to our families and future generations. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's the rain is coming again. I can just feel it starting to spit. I'm just glad that I was able to deliver another vlog. This is the third vlog for today. I haven't been able to do my normal morning vlogs during the week because I start at 6 o'clock and I normally get to work at 5:30, which is doesn't give me much time to deliver a vlog, unfortunately. But I will work around it. If I can't do them during the week, I'll pump them out on the weekend. But I'm well on my way to getting to 1,500 vlogs in English and being one of the most prolific vloggers throughout the world on personal development material and book summaries. So thank you once again for joining me on this adventure where I've been able to just get out and about, clear my mind and talk about the subjects that I think we all find very interesting, and to add one more to the list and learn 2 or 3 more things that we can consider incorporating into our daily schedule, and hopefully we can pass it on. We can live, learn and pass it on to others in our family, others in our social circles, so that they too can benefit from our learnings. Take care everybody, wishing you all the best, and bye for now on this wonderful, wonderful Sunday up here at Nelson Bay.